Hello guys and welcome back to the channel of Prince of What Ifs. I'm here with the second part of the What If Ichigo Had the Sharingan Soul Society. We're about to get into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date. All my future videos, I might have stumbled a little bit there. I do it a lot. I hope you don't mind it. Also excuse the background noise. Just enjoy the second part because it's gonna be awesome. This is when the fights really start happening. Alright, let's begin with the recap. The last part introduced an Ichigo very adapted to his two Tomoe Sharingan, and his family are very aware of a lot of spiritual things, as well as Satsuki. He's also very knowledgeable about the fact that he's being tailed by some people. One day, the attack of a hollow brings Rukia to his home to try and figure out what he is, what Ichigo is, but she gets nothing and leaves. Days then pass until one day execution, the Fullbringers make their move. Tsukishima comes to Ichigo's home after inserting the Book of Ending to everyone, but Ichigo arrives and reveals that they've been, just acting like they actually knew Tsukishima, but Ichigo put a seal on them. They're not affected by his powers. Tsukishima runs away and is chased by Ichigo, who ends up fighting all the Fullbringers. He traps them on a Genjutsu and steals them away, just as an avant-garde Grand Fisher arrives. The Hollow then almost kills him, but Rukia steps in and gives him her power. Ichigo uses a lightning type Zanpakuto and kills it. And as the days follow, he develops new jutsus to deal with his double life, while Rukia has to get used to Ichigo's new normal, He's very powerful and weird. Also, his friends now know all about him, which brings them closer. And one day, of course, Ishida gets in Ichigo's way, but in this version of events, Ichigo stops almost all the Hollows single-handedly before firing a Sarah at a Menos Grande. He beats it and sets Ishida straight before then starting to make up with him later at school. They start to get a little bit closer. But Rukia soon leaves as night falls that day and Ichigo goes looking for her. Rukia runs through the streets of Kurakara with a backpack as she kept thinking if there was another option than this, but then she shook her head. I already traded the Fullbringers, now I need to honor my part of the deal, she thought. Hey Rukia! Rukia then stops and looks to see Renji atop a lamppost as he unsheathes his blade, and in the blink of an eye he drops and slashes down as Rukia barely dodges back. Damn, I know you've been in a Gigai for a long time, but this is disappointing, says Renji. He rises and rests his blade atop his shoulder, saying, where's the human boy? What? He caught Ginjo, why are you still after him? Oh, this is a personal thing. The head captain never said I couldn't at least, test his skills. Enough teasing, Renji. The voice of Byakuya is then heard as it rattles both of them up, right as he then says they need to leave, and Rukia then turns to see him walk up from behind. In the blink of an eye, however, Rukia, who was in front of them, disappears, and even Byakuya can keep up, but they then hear her voice and turn to see Ichigo holding Rukia, who he has put down, and then he gets in front of. You're not going anywhere. You're him? I mean, I gotta say, you move pretty fast. Just how much did you take? Asked Renji. In the beginning, it was just Rukia's powers, but I've come to develop my own abilities, thank you very much, Ichigo would say. This angers Renji, who uses Flash Step and appears before Ichigo while swinging down, and his impact releases a shockwave that knocks back Rukia, and she rolls until she finds some balance. Quickly, she then looks forward and becomes horrified. Ichigo! Ichigo? Don't worry, the difference in power is too great, says Ichigo, as Renji's Shikai hadn't even pierced his skin. The Reaper jumps back right as Byakuya then moves forward for Rukia, but Ichigo intercepts and stops him, and they meet face to face right before releasing an incredible amount of Ryatsu that forces the other two to the ground. A human possessing this much spiritual power. He's correct. He's made his power his own, thought Byakuya. But Senbon Sakurai. An explosion of Sakura then explodes from his hilt as they surround him and Ichigo, rising to the skies and form a pillar of just Sakura, leaving Rukia horrified at what may happen to Ichigo when her brother gets serious. But from the pillar of flowers sparks lightning, and lightning just goes off, and the pillar then turns to one of flowers and lightning, and it opens up to show the two staring each other down. Impossible, this guy's actually matching Captain Byakuya? Even if he's in the seal state, that's insane, thought Renji. Open the door, said Byakuya, do it now! Quickly, Renji then gets up and twists his sword into, just the air and opens up a gate to Soul Society, and he runs as he grabs Rukia, which breaks Ichigo's concentration, allowing Byakuya to send him flying with petals. However, Ichigo stops himself and grabs his Shikai, saying, Discharge! Zangetsu! He slashes vertically, blowing everything away right as Rukia then is dragged away, and he uses his Bringer's Light. Ichigo uses Bringer's Light to reach her, but is met by a swarm of Senbon Sakurai, which blind and begin to cut him apart. Why? Why do you want to hurt her? Isn't she your comrade? Yells Ichigo. By this point, Rukia is at the door and tells Ichigo to just stop, and Ichigo would freeze, while Byakuya would also stop his attacks. Just stop. Don't come. But you don't deserve this. It's because I was too weak. You shouldn't have to pay for it. I don't deserve it, Ichigo. I don't deserve your help. I've done horrible things. I've made my choice. Slowly, Ichigo's Sharingan begins to show as Rukia would turn and walk away, while Byakuya regathers his petals into a sword. So society has decided to pardon you, so go and live your life. My dear sister will pay for her crimes. Instantly, Ichigo's eyes become a three Tomura, and Byakuya feels the rise in Ryatsu, as well as Renji, and for the first time ever, Byakuya would experience fear. I'm sweating. My body is shivering. This can't be. This time, when he uses Flash Step, it is to get away from Ichigo, and as he leaves, the doors will then close and fade away, leaving Ichigo alone right as the rain begins to fall. Don't come for you? You both know how stubborn I am, Ichigo thought. His eyes then return to normal as he senses and turns to see Ishida, who asks, Was that Rukia? What happened? Sorry for business. It doesn't concern Quincy's. Sorry, Ishida. Using Bringer's light, he then disappears as Ishida feels that Ichigo is clearly disturbed somehow. Now, as he arrives home, Ichigo lands in through his window right as he re-enters his body, and Ishin will then walk in. Hey, Ichigo, the dinner's gonna... He then freezes upon seeing Ichigo's eyes full of anger and also notices his three Tomoe, and without saying another word, Ichigo would sit back at his desk and bring out his jutsu notebook. How could someone say something that heartless about their family? I'll make you eat those words, thought Ichigo. It was only a matter of time. I should have told him about the executions being in order, thought Ishin. With a sigh, he would then ask, Do you want to get her back? Of course, why would she have to die for helping me? Because of her, I got Mom's killer for both of us, for all of us. That's a debt me or any of us can ever pay back. Alright, I'll make a call, said Ishin. The very next day, Ichigo then sits in the home of Urahara as Uru then walks in with some tea, which she lays in front of him. Enjoy. Thank you, said Ichigo, as he stared blankly at the cup, and Uru then walked out to see Ginta. What a sad sack. If he was that strong, he should just stop him himself, said Ginta. That's me, Ginta, said Uru, and upon hearing this, he starts to noogie her, mess with her, because Ginta does that. When Tensai, my bad. If I said his name wrong, tell me down in the comments. Tensai then appears and chops him on the head, making him hold it in pain before then looking up to see the behemoth of a man who says, Be nice. Yeah, sorry. Walking past him at this point, Urahara then enters the room, as Ichigo then turns to see him fanning himself while he advances with his cane in hand as well. Hello, Sir Kurosaki. You're way too eccentric. It's kinda suspicious. Laughing at this, Urahara then walks before him and asks if he was gonna drink the tea, and shaking his head, Ichigo asks how he could get to Soul Society. Well, I have a way, but only if you train under me for 10 days. I don't have time for it. Urahara's cane at this point is then swung at him as he then dodges to the right, and Urahara then starts to swing more and more and increases in more speed, leaving his employees shocked at Ichigo, who was still keeping up. But what's the point of this? Asked Ichigo as he keeps dodging and dodging, and Urahara would then come to see his three Tomoe. Eventually, he then stops and pulls back the cane, saying, Fine, you're strong enough, but just in case, I want to teach you Bankai. Doesn't that take years? Are you saying you can't do it in 10 days? With a smart Ichigo would then say, Taunting. Normally it wouldn't work, but I'm brimming with power and I want to release it into something productive. Welcome to my boot camp. That'll be 100 yen. Stop messing around, Ichigo would say. Sorry, just trying to lighten up the mood. Follow me. You set a clone in place for school, right? Standing, Ichigo says, of course, and follows him down some stairs. And those stairs lead to a ladder, but walking parallel to the wall, Ichigo then walks beside Urahara, Ginta, Uru, and Tessai, who climb down the ladder. And Ginta would then ask, how the hell are you doing that? Fullbringers control the soul of objects. I use the soul of this wall to let me walk like normal. The hell's a Fullbringer, yells Ginta. Humans with supernatural powers, says Urahara, but unlike Ichigo's friends, the users of these powers had their mothers attacked by hollows. This truth terrifies them a bit, the kids at least, but Urahara would then say that Ichigo must have already known because he's not that surprised, and he would then say, Yep, come on, let's begin already. They reached the bottom floor, and Ichigo was then left shocked at what he saw. There was a whole nother world down here, and he would say, Incredible. Of course it is, I made it. I love myself. But clearing his throat, he then asks Ichigo to go Soul Reaper, and Ichigo would then do so as he leaves behind a clone that stands on his own, while Urahara would then have Tessai bring out a sort of dummy. Before we start with Bankai training, I need you to talk with Zangetsu. You've tried before, right? Taking a seat, Ichigo would then say no, but he's willing to try, and he awakens Zangetsu in his second form and lays it on his thighs before then closing his eyes, and he tries to enter the precipice world. When he opens his eyes, he's surprised to say the least. Looking to the side, he saw he was sitting parallel to the ground, and everything was just kind of distorted while he was sitting on top of a giant building. Slowly he stands, but notices Zangetsu is actually gone from his hands. Welcome, Ichigo. Turning around, the Reaper then sees an old man, but he knows who it is. This day is just gonna get weirder and weirder, huh? Indeed it is, Ichigo. I commend you for coming this far, but Bankai is different. My third release, my full power. To pull out the best of me, you must be secure in yourself. Then he's gotta be here, my better half, as he likes to say. I never met you before, but I've had my fill with that idiot. Idiot, that's rude. From Zangetsu then forms white as he stares down at Ichigo, and Ichigo does the same before then saying, You're not getting any say in this. Like you have a choice. You'll be surprised, says Ichigo. I'm slowly finding more ways to keep you under control, more than before. Even if I do use you, it'll be under my control. This pisses off White, right as Zangetsu would then say that this isn't the time. I will assist you in learning Bankai. You have my word. Thank you, or at least more agreeable, says Ichigo. As he disappears, leaving White seething, but looking at him, Zangetsu says, just stop trying. Despair feeds his strength. It doesn't lessen it. You know that better than anyone. How's your scar? Being reminded of the first day he made contact with Ichigo, White opens up his kimono to show a huge scar. Now, as Ichigo returns to the real world, he opens up his eyes and he'll be brimming with even more Ryatsu when he then actually hears some familiar voices. And looking forward, he saw Inoue, Tatsuki, and Chad who came into the training area. You're coming, aren't you? He asked. What did you think we were just gonna laser around while you get all the fun, said Tatsuki. Ichigo then stands saying good as he points his sword forward and you then smirk. Bun. Kai. These words leave Urahara in disbelief, right as Ichigo then explodes with a tornado of Ryatsu that almost sweeps everyone into it. What's going on with him? Asked Chad. He's forcing his third release. Ichigo, stop! Yells Urahara. They're all then blown away as the crater is then made right where Ichigo stands that gets deeper and deeper, and the mere force of his Ryatsu starts to shake everything and leave cracks in the walls. Ichigo! Ichigo, are you okay? Asked Chad. What kind of idiot forces their Bankai like that, huh? Yells Ginta. The swirling of wind, however, then stops as they hear Ichigo's voice. What do you mean by force? This is the real thing. The tornado then turns to an orange color, and this Ryatsu then takes the form of flames as it settles down, and then compresses and surrounds Ichigo before taking the form of a giant-like skeleton thing. Ichigo then stands and slowly walks out of the crater, but he had the same Shiakusho, and he stood in the Susanoo's ribcage as it roars. He really did it in one go? Yells Ururu. That doesn't even make sense, thought Urahara. But Ichigo was tired from releasing this, so his eyes begin to bleed, and instantly the Susanoo then fades away while he begins to fall. Right as he thuds to the floor, he's then caught by Chad, who runs over. He runs over and catches him and turns him over. Well, Orihime starts to heal his eyes. If I didn't say that Orihime came, I apologize. She is here. I feel like I didn't mention it. My bad. So, that's your Bankai, said Urahara. Nope, not even close. I can feel it. It's not complete. Well, not yet at least. Next time, you're gonna do that. Warn us, you idiot, said Tatsuki. Yeah, my bad, said Ichigo. Now we're going to time skip 10 days. Everyone that takes time training down in the room as Ichigo mostly meditate and learn to release his power better while Tatsuki and Chad attacked him over and over. This pushed them to the absolute limits, and when they were done, Orihime had to heal them every single time to improve her healing abilities. But fearing she might become a liability, Ichigo personally teaches her a Bakudo of his, a jutsu named Rock Armor. She gets quite adept at it. Everyone learns it too, just in case. And Chad's blasts get faster and more fierce, while Tatsuki gets so fast that she can move faster than you can blink, and her punches could rip through steel. Along with this, Urahara gives her some armor for her legs and arms, but she chose to keep everything else the same since she now had the insane durability, from Ichigo's Rock Armor jutsu. I'm gonna explain this. This jutsu borrows the power from the earth itself and radiate in the air to form a kind of transparent like armor that encases you. If you want to know where I'm borrowing this from in the Narutoverse, it's actually because of this one filler arc. It has Asuma very involved in it, and that fire temple and the Konoha and all that. This dude has an earth release and can create this rock-like kind of transparent armor made of chakra, and he's in with this group with a girl that can suck out your chakra by kissing you, that whole thing. I think you're remembering him now. That's where I got it from. So that's gonna be like kind of their Hiero, or their version of Quincy's blood dress. If you don't know what that is, search it up. So anyway, Ichigo meanwhile manages to create a entire half top of the Susanoo in its full armor, and he also spends a lot of time in the precipice world fighting against Zangetsu himself, and also fighting him in the real world because of the dummy thing, until the fateful day came, and even Ishida would join in. Surprised to see you here, said Ichigo. I simply don't like Soul Reapers. Rukia no longer counts as one, and she's being unfairly punished. Yeah, sure, said Ichigo, but thanks for coming. Of course, I never miss out on such an event. Alright, then we're all set. Can we go? Asked Ichigo, as he then now showed he had the Mangekyo Sharingan. Yeah, I'm leveling him up really fast. Calm yourself, boy. Hearing this familiar voice, however, Ichigo then looks down to see Yoruichi, Mr. Yoruichi, and his Sharingan then shows him her true form. Why are you disguising as a cat? Wait, you're not actually a cat, yells Orihime? Of course I am. Right now, at least. Alright, pay attention, said Urahara, as he uses a technique to create a door to society, and they finally enter it, while Ichigo's clone, his clone Bakudo, do not only take over his body, but the others. The difference about this clone jutsu is that they're actually Gigai. They're practically flesh and blood, which makes them more amazing of an invention that Urahara wishes that he could buy and sell himself. But meanwhile, right after passing through the door, the group ends up in the Dangai, and they find themselves in between two mounds of melting goop that form a hallway ahead. Running ahead, Ichigo insists to hurry, before the sweeper comes. Hurry up. With a dash forward, they all run as the walls begin to close in from behind and start to just collapse. But they run and run when Ichigo's mantle is then actually caught by something and he screams. Being alerted to this, Ichigo then runs back and grabs him and yanks him as he runs forward ahead. And right at that moment, the sweeper appears. 8 chases them, but they manage to get out and they are shot out into the Ryoka district. Slowly getting up, they then dust themselves off as Sasuke would then say, "It's the same old sky, huh?" "Of course," says Yoruichi. "Now let's plan out." She then, however, sees Ichigo marching towards the town of Shinigami and yells for him to stop, right as a giant wall then falls from above right in front of him. But Ichigo stays unnerved as the town is then slowly blocked off by more of these walls. They create a giant, large gate, but the main one is then opened up as Jidambo, a giant behemoth of a Soul Reaper, then shows himself. "Hey there, kid. It's been a while, but I'll try to accommodate you." The ceremony gate would then fall and shut behind him as he slams down his axes and asks Ichigo to attack from anywhere. "If you can even get one shot in, I might help you out." The others are left shocked and intimidated by his size, as Yoruichi would then fill them in on how powerful he is around here. But she says that this could still be a piece of cake for Ichigo. "Attack from anywhere, right?" said Ichigo, as he took out his giant Shikai, and Jidambo would then laugh, saying that at least he has guts. Ichigo then pulls back his blade, saying, "Getsuka Tensho!" He releases a violent wave of Ryatsu, which terrified Jidambo, right as he's then ripped across the chest and he slams against the gate, making him spew blood and leaving everyone at a loss for words. He didn't even use his second form, Satsuki. That's a big deal, right? Holy shit. I thought he would at least use his second form. That's incredible, thought Yoruichi. He definitely got the defamation, huh? Now, as Jidambo slowly gets up, staggering, Ichigo then says he went easy on him, and yeah, I hope you're doing okay. Only for Jidambo to then burst into tears, which conflicts Ichigo as he would try to calm him down and make him feel better because he's kind of making a scene. But seeing how much Ichigo cared despite beating him up, Jidambo then said that he had lost both as a man and as a Reaper, so he decided to lift the gate for them. The others then gather around for when he starts to, and uses every ounce of power and strength in his body until the home of the Shinigami, is visible. However, Jidambo then begins to shake all over as Ichigo walks in to see Gin Ichimaru. "Captain of the 3rd Squad," said Jidambo, as he had fear in his eyes. Everyone can feel something creepy about this guy, right as he then spoke. That's not allowed." Pulling back his blade, the captain then says, "Shoot him dead, Shinso." Appearing right before Jidambo's in the blink of an eye, however, Ichigo then awakens Zangetsu and cuts Gin's Zanpakuto in half as it elongates. Everyone is left stunted. Meanwhile, Ichigo then falls and points Sensei's Zangetsu forward, and he would say, "This is between us. Don't hurt him." Cheering up in the process by being protected, Jidambo says he really is a good guy, while Yoruichi at this point realizes that Ichigo could easily be the same level as the captain's. Now, as Gin retracts his blade, it is shriveled up and cut in half, but he kept the same smile. "Oh, that sucks, but even if you can beat me, you can't break through a barrier." Using Flash Step, Gin then appears about 50 yards backwards, right as Ichigo then is already in front of him, thrusting forward, but upon doing so, he is knocked back by a giant barrier and is left annoyed, while Gin would then cackle, saying, "See you around, Ryoka." He then turns and starts walking off, while Ichigo returns and asks Yoruichi what they should do now. Now he walks to the other side, as does everyone, before Jidambo then lets the gates fall, and quickly Orihime begins to heal him. "Thank you," he said. "It's okay. You did an amazing job, by the way." Now, from here on out, things will play the same. They go to meet the other Ryokas present in the district. They thank him for, saving Jidambo. They have a lot of respect for that. Chad meets Shibata, but this time when Ganju arrives, him provoking Ichigo ends up just knocking him out with a genjutsu. He wakes up later and leaves while cursing him. And later, everyone goes to Kukaku, who agrees to help. However, everyone gets the spirit core down thing. My bad. They get the spirit core thing down almost instantly, making a barrier. I find it ridiculous that Ichigo can't use that at first, but hey, it is what it is. They are then fired out of a cannon and hurled towards Soul Society along with Ganju, but they get split up anyway. However, in this version of events, Ichigo is all by his lonesome, so when he lands, he starts to head to Rukia's holding cell. He already knows where it is because his Sharingan lets him see Ryatsu through walls and such. There's a bunch of others like that other Soul Reaper, and he's present too. I wonder if he wants a rematch, thought Ichigo. He's talking about Byakuya. But he walks and just, tries to conserve energy, and from above then crashes someone, making Ichigo back away as he takes out a Shikai, and a cloud of dust then clears so Ikkaku. Today is my lucky day, but I can't see the same for you. I'm gonna hate this guy, aren't I? Thought Ichigo. Alright, let's do it. You're the enemy Ryoka, and I'm the man who will be killing you, Ichigo Kurosaki. I'm famous, good to know, said Ichigo. Same guy who stepped up and, beat that little Ginjo bastard, and all you had to do was stay home, but nah, you wanted to come die. I like that. In the blink of an eye, however, Ichigo appears behind him as Ikkaku is shot by speed and his body explodes with cuts from all over, but they're not random. He got hit in the tendons, Achilles heel, he falls over completely immobilized, and he yells, "How the hell can you wave that giant thing around with so much precision?" To me, this feels like nothing. Alright, see ya. Wait, god damn it, I'm not done yet. Wait! However, Ichigo puts away Shikai and goes on ahead, as Ikaku would then think that kind of speech surpasses even Captain Kenpachi's. I mean, he's gonna have fun fighting him, but where the hell did that monster kid come from? Now, at this point, he then hears the chirping of birds, right as a pillar of lightning is then seen far ahead, and Ichigo will then shock some Soul Reapers who came to attack him, rendering them immobile, while he moves forward again at the same pace, because like I said, he's saving up physical ability, because he didn't just come here to actually fight. He came here to meet the head captain. That's right. Yeah. And he thought, if we have to fight, then I must be in tip-top condition. Now, from now though, we're gonna go to a rooftop where we find Tatsuki facing down Jirobo as she finds herself dodging and deflecting his flying blades with ease. We just have to get split up. God damn it, thought Tatsuki. For a Yoruka, you're quite impressive, but at this rate, you won't get far. I'm not even trying. A swarm of knights then concentrates on her from behind, and at this point, Tatsuki would actually get mad. Did you think you were winning? She dashes and pulls back her fist and covers it with marks before then slamming a punch into the Soul Reapers, and Jirobo will then spew blood from his mouth as the knives are then dispelled, with him then slamming to the ground. As he's down for the count, Tatsuki then begins to stomp him over and over while he tries to block, only to find that her small body holds a lot more power than him. Repeat what you said? Huh? Huh, you bastard? I'm sorry. Now, as she continues this, Chad works alone while Inoue and Ishida will then move together, and Ganju will be running from Yumichika, but we will go to the Soul Reapers meeting up. It had been an hour since the Ryoka arrived, and already each squad had themselves reporting injuries from mostly one man. Renji, Hinamori, Rangiku, Izuru, Hisagi, and Tetsuzaimon gathered before Yasuchika, who says the entire 11 squad was decimated. Everyone is less surprised by this, but Rangiku would then say, I have been sensing a fluctuation of Ryatsu, but from this far? Jirobo just a few minutes ago was found beaten and beaten to a bloody pulp as well, said Yasuchika. The Wind Scythe? Asked Rangiku. He's Jidambo's brother, right? Him too? Now, as they worried about this, Renji then began to feel that this may be connected to that Ryoka he fought, so he takes off and says, I suggest one of you join me, or any of you. For what? Asked Hisagi. I know who this is. It's that Ryoka who caught Genjo. Wasn't he told to mind his business? Why does he even care? Asked Izuru. While Renji then stays quiet, he then realizes that it must be because of Rukia, that, she's actually going to get executed, and he wanted to save her, but he didn't think it was going to come this far, because, well, the chances of it happening were low before, but it just rises more and more that she might actually die. Coming or not, a huge pressure of Ryatsu then cuts off Renji, as by this point everyone feels his power, and we then see Ichigo, Ganju, and Hanataro, who they picked up along the way, arrive at the Senzai-Kyu. Yeah, I hope I got that right. Yeah, this is the place. She's here, said Ichigo. Hanataro, leave. You don't want to be here in a moment. Oh, we're already here. Hearing the voice of Renji, Ganju and Hanataro become frozen as they see Rangiku, Renji himself, and Izuru arrive. He's a bit adorable, kind of a waste, says Rangiku, as she and the other two would then come to a stop and tell Ichigo to go back. The moment you unsheath your Shikai, you go beyond the returning point, human, said Izuru. However, in a flash, Ichigo then grabs his sword and appears before Izuru, who barely dodges back and gets a cut on the nose. Quickly, he awakens the second form of his blade and swings it, but it is then swatted away, right as Ichigo then tanks Renji's extending sword to the neck. Oh, come on, there are no restrictions, so how, thought Renji, as Ichigo was swirling a lot of reishi and Ryatsu around himself, and it was kind of bizarre as to why he didn't get hurt at all. Discharge. Zangetsu, yells Ichigo, as an explosion of lightning then hits them all and sends them away. Rangiku didn't even get a hit in, and they found it hard to even stand after the hit. Stand down, said Ichigo. I told you to be careful. Ah, yells Renji, as he then feels a shock of the lightning spread throughout his body. A lightning type Sanpakuto, you weren't kidding about that power, said Rangiku. Wow, he took down all those lieutenants in one blow, said Hanataro. Freaking monster, whispered Ganju, right as Ichigo then tells him to shut up, and Ganju then asks how the hell he can even hear that. You really are a monster. Look out! From above then falls Kenpachi, as Ichigo would block his blow, and the pressure of the clash blows everyone away, while Ichigo would then stare down the smiling Reaper. Finally, you're here! He's pushed off by Ichigo, who then charges and cuts his torso open with the sword and Clyde lightning, and Kenpachi is shocked as he feels his skin fry, and Ichigo would then turn up the voltage. But he becomes shocked when Kenpachi's smile would then grow, and he swings at him anyway. With the dodge, Ichigo then thrusts right into his stomach and twists it before pulling out, and the Reaper then explodes with lightning, but he still just laughs. I like it. It keeps me running, kid. No. Ichigo Kurosaki. As the other Reapers manage to get up, they feel the two clashing down in a crater. Meanwhile, Yachiyo then arrive and land beside Izuru. Don't do anything, okay? Kenny's having fun. What? Yells Izuru, but I said don't get involved, she would yell, and she jumps onto his head and begins to hit him when his hair is then, her hair is then frazzled by Ichigo's leftover discharge, and this causes her to breathe out smoke, as she would then yell, what was that for? It wasn't me, yells Izuru. They're then blown away by this pressure from the two Reaper clashing again, and Renji would then notice Ganju actually running away at this moment with Hanataro, who then asks, why are we leaving? If we stay, we become a liability. That guy can handle himself. Trust me. Now back at the fight, Kenpachi is sent flying into the air but stops himself right as Ichigo then appears behind him with the full swing, and Kenpachi then explodes with cuts from all over. Kenpachi, however, will still attack as Ichigo will then dodge a thrust with the twist before he then catches Kenpachi in the Genjutsu, and then kicking and sending him cratering to the ground. You're one of those battle junkies, idiots, aren't you? Said Ichigo. An explosion of Ryatsu then occurs again to show Kenpachi without his eye patch as he groans. Man, I was hoping to keep it on. This is gonna get boring now. Oh, you have one too? A limiter. I like it, said Ichigo, as he explodes with even more Ryatsu as well, and Kenpachi just loves this guy at this point. They're both monsters that Ryoka's fighting, and he doesn't even have a scratch, thought Rangiku. Go, Kenny, yells Yachiru as she then yanks the hair of Izuru, who winces in pain, and leaping into the air, Kenpachi then pulls back his blade and clashes with Ichigo's, and their Ryatsu takes form of their true essence. For Kenpachi, it's a terrifying skull, and for Ichigo, it shows his Susanoo's face. His final strike is so powerful that despite them being in a wide area, everyone is just sent flying. Ganju and Hanataro are swept into a building, and many of these buildings are, just leveled. Luckily, Ganju cushioned their impact by turning the wall to sand with this Seppai, if I'm not wrong with the technique name, but the other buildings are actually broken and leveled. The screams of the Reapers will be heard and echo out until all that is left is just a giant smoke cloud that keeps everyone blinded, and from afar, Aizen would watch as he just smiles. I thought I'd fake my death. This is more than enough. Despite the clash, Ichigo would survive with only a cut to his chest and keep running up the stairs past Kenpachi, and he couldn't even help but just smile. He didn't understand why. It was because the people are a bad influence, he thought. Now, after much running, he ends up on a bridge, and from the other end, some guards see him approaching. But before they can react, they are then put to sleep by Ichigo, who appears before them, and after doing so, he runs and cleaves the door open, and in the room will be Byakuya and Rukia. Rukia is less shocked that he's truly here. Ichigo, I told you to stay! I'm not a dog. I haven't repaid my debt. I'm taking Rukia and making an appeal to your head captain, he'd say. This is surprising to hear from him, as Byakuya then asks, you plan to appeal to the head captain? You don't even deserve to be in my presence. You'll burn it. Instantly, Ichigo is then gone from his sight as he quickly looks back to see Rukia was gone. That can't be speed. I felt no movement. Ichigo meanwhile runs through the air away from the Sensei as Rukia kept struggling. Are you seriously going to the head captain? Of course, you gotta do this right. What is that supposed to mean? Look how much damage you did. He looks down and sees the effects of he and Kenpachi's fight and nervously looks away as Rukia then sighs, saying, this is a whole nother level of stubborn. As she looks at Ichigo, however, she knows that he's serious. There was no wavering in his face and eyes, so she gave one piece of advice. If things get bad, just leave me on a run. We then cut to Yamamoto as he sits in his office with his eyes closed. His Ryatsu has been picking up all the fights that have been going on, and now he felt Ichigo approaching with Rukia. The next thing he heard was the sound of screaming from his guards, trying to stop the Ryoka, until Ichigo then enters with Rukia. You truly do not know the meaning of giving up, boy. Do you? A wall of flames then blind Ichigo as he gets in front of Rukia to protect her, and the wall will then split to show the head captain walk up, and his Ryatsu will rise to stupendous degrees, so much so that Rukia is left gagging on the ground, and Ichigo find it hard to even speak. The execution of Rukia will be sped up, and you and all your friends shall be killed, Kurosaki. Upon hearing this, Ichigo's eyes flicker in between the state of Mangekyo and Eternal as he yells, Bankai! An explosion of Ryatsu occurs as Ichigo's Susanoo will then surround him and roar, and his fiery flames, while not on the same level and intensity as the head captain, were still impressive. But even with this increase in strength, just the mere state and the stare of the captain, his presence was just too much to handle. I came here to negotiate, not fight. But if you push my hand, I will, says Ichigo. As Rukia then looks around and is actually left stupefied, she no longer felt the overwhelming pressure of Yamamoto and looks to see Ichigo's back. And she thought, he really came this far, but I don't even deserve it. The flames rise on both ends as the walls of rage should begin to crack around them and a stare down ensues. Looking down at his arm, the head captain would be shocked to find that his skin was steaming and even burning. How long has it been since I've been hurt by Ryatsu? Thousands. Not since you are. Before he could say another word, a giant black cube then covers them all, and this bizarre container then saps the two of their intense flames as the screams of Rukia are heard, and Ichigo looks back but realizes that she's not there and he can't feel anything. Above the cube, you then find the blind swordsman Tosen, who says, Bankai, Suzumushi Tsukushi, and Makorogi. Be glad Aizen still lets you live. He needs you for his plans, Ichigo Kurosaki. Inside this cube, Ichigo quickly analyzes what has happened and asks Yamamoto, since when did Reapers betray one another? The captain is just as shocked as he is, but says that this bankai definitely belongs to Tosin, but it feels different. Definitely different, because holding his hand out, he releases his flames, but finds that they have been weakened. Ichigo finds that he can only bring out a skeleton of the Susanoo, and at this moment, they can still both sense each other despite not being able to see, hear, feel, smell anything. Your punishment shall be postponed. Thank you for your consideration, said Ichigo, as he then thought, out of everyone I faced, this man is the most monstrous by far, but there's definitely more to this. Like it was designed for us, say Yamamoto. Exactly, says Ichigo. Someone's been planning this for a long time. Outside the cube, panic would then ensue as Anohana and Hitsugaya then run to the head captain's office, only to see Aizen taking away Rukia somewhere, and they don't know what is going on. What is Aizen doing, said Hitsugaya. The worst thought comes to mind before they can even think of anything else. All they saw was just a fellow Soul Reaper apparently betraying their head captain. But Anohana would then use the broadcast and speak. Elsewhere, Chad would then stand before the 8th captain at his knees, and they had begun their fight not long ago. And honestly, Shinsui was impressed, and his assistant couldn't understand how he took a blow from the captain and was still standing. Oh, no, can't you see it? This boy has an armor ratio on him. Weird, but still. What kind of ability is that? I've never heard of it, said Nanao. That's a good question. Who taught you, boy? However, as he gets up, Chad just readies another attack, making the captain sigh because he obviously wasn't going to say anything, right as his ears are then blasted by the voice of Onohana. All Reapers gather to the Sokyokyu, my bad. Head Captain Yamamoto and Ryoke Ichigo have been trapped by an unknown seal. Sosuke, Aizen, and Tosin, as of now, will be called traitors until further notice. I don't know why it's so hard to say that. Hearing this, the captain is surprised as, well, with the turn he then says that he doesn't have time for Chad right now. Wait, what about Ichigo? What does she mean by trap, yells Chad. I don't know, kid, go find out for yourself. He disappears using Flash Step, and Nana would then follow as Chad would then panic and look around before running the same way they went. I can even sense his Ryatsu pressure. Now all of Ichigo's friends would hear the news and start running to wherever seemed to be the more obvious place to trap someone and kill them. And soon they all met up and are led by Yuriichi. And he would say, you guys should go back. What? Yo, Satsuki, but what about... What can you do then? As they all come to a stop, Yuriichi says that Ichigo would have wanted them to go after Rukia. Now hurry before it's too late. What are you gonna do? Asked Ishida. Maybe try to break the seal. I don't know, just go. I'll take care of the rest. They begrudgingly then run the opposite way and head to the Sokyokyu, well, or he may ask where Ganju is. Actually, Ganju was captured by Renji and put in a cell, as was Hanatara, but when they heard the news, they were just as confused, and everyone knew Aizen was a kind of sweet guy, you know, he was a nice guy, but Aizen wasn't just depicted as a bad guy, you know, he was just under suspicion of betrayal, since Tosin, who trapped Yamamoto, was going to Sokoku with him, so maybe a partnership, that's what they thought. As for Aizen himself, he and Tosin are met by Gin while running through the air, but his Zanpakuto had yet to be fully healed. And this is when Tosin would ask, how could you let yourself be so easily beat? As for Aizen, he and Tosin are met by Gin while running through the air, but his Zanpakuto had yet to be fully healed. How could you let yourself be beat so easily, said Tosin. Hey, I'd love to see you try. The only reason you got in was because he was caught off guard. Oh, hey, Rukia, don't be scared. Don't be gentle. Rukia could not believe what was going on, and Aizen's strength had frozen her in place, and quickly they reach the Sokyokyu as she's then let down, and Aizen then tells her to stand. Oh, are you perhaps frightened by my Ryatsu? No need. Grabbing the collar around her neck, he then lifts her up and reaches into his pockets, and he dodges a Zabimaru strike from Renji at that moment. Aizen, what the hell are you doing? He'd yell. He retracts his sword and runs over as Rukia then says to stay back, but as he approaches and swings down his sword, it is deflected right before he's then stabbed in the stomach. He spews blood as Aizen then slowly pulls out the sword, but it is grabbed by Renji, whose Ryatsu would then rise, saying, let her go. Aizen is impressed, but quickly rips out the sword before cutting down the Reaper, who falls to the floor, and Rukia was just screaming in agony, and as she goes to run for her friend, she's pulled back by Aizen, who quickly uses the instrument he had taken out, and it would erupt with these, it would make these bizarre objects erupt around him. His hands become a different kind of material, and Rukia asks why he's doing this. Do you know why Kurosaki Ichigo is suspicious of Kisuke Urahara? It's because what he has stored in you. In me, she thought? Aizen would then explain that Keisuke had used something, well, to cover what one of his greatest inventions ever was. He was the head scientist here, and using his genius, he created, of course, a boundary between Hollows and Soul Reapers. He would then jab his hand into Rukia's chest, right as a giant shadow would then loom over them, and they all turn back to see Komamura and his Bankai. But using a sealing Bakudo, Gin would trap him, and as this is done, the whole Q is then ripped out from Rukia, who's then thrown aside, and she's weakened. Release him, said Aizen, as Gin would then release the seal, and screaming, Komamura would then yell for Tosin to explain himself, until he then saw Rukia's body and was left distracted, while Aizen moves in and appears behind the captain, whose torso would then burst with blood. That speed is incredible. How much has he been hiding, he thought. His Bankai then fades as Komamura will then fall over, but Renji begins to get up as Gin would then say, "You just don't give up, do you?" "Rukia, what did you do to her? Why are you even doing this?" Aizen, however, instead would then say that Tosin should just kill her. Instead of becoming wide-eyed, however, Renji then runs over and trips, and he falls over as he sees Tosin approaching and unsheathes a sword. At that moment, as if by instinct, Renji would then yell, "Ichigo, save Rukia. If you're gonna do something crazy, do it now. Please!" At that moment, an intense amount of heat then sets in as Ichigo appears before Tosin and yells, "Discharge! Zangetsu!" An explosion of lightning then hits and shocks the blind Shinigami, whose body is then fried much like Gin before Ichigo then forms a Susanoo and turns to face Aizen. Ban Kai. Aizen stays smiling as he said, "We finally meet for the first time." "Yeah, right. I recognize that creepy stare. I'd appreciate it if you kept your cameras away from me." Aizen's smile will then grow at him hearing of him easily figuring out who he was, but Ichigo wasn't here to play, and his Susanoo would fully form its entire top area. What is Aizen planning to do now? Will Ichigo be able to stop him? Find out in the next part of Bleach, and I hope you enjoyed the second part. It's been boy Prince of What Ifs. Alright, I'm gone. Peace.
Oh darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours, while I'm walking on you through the night. You can break